Good evening, afternoon, whatever. It's Rita, Scott. We're doing another Cosmic Dialogue. We've had a heavy conversation just about the time and the day, and I came up with this, and Rita kind of just complied with it. And rather than complain, rather than get so caught up in this muck, because 2020 has been, we'll acknowledge it's horrible, fearful. All of our feelings have been thrown against a glass plate of whatever we want, and we feel like the birds that hit it. But a cosmic dialogue of just hold on for 3 months, from 3 months from now, and also about, I had this huge message that came back from me from something I read 2 years ago from a book about open your eyes before they close forever. And so we'll start there. We might go other places with this cosmic dialogue, because I said, well, let's see if we get this or better. So it's December 2020, where we need to hold on to get through to get to. So here we are, December 2020. Where are we now? It's been so great. I'm so glad we held on.
Yes. I remember telling people back in September to just hang on for 3 more months. And I couldn't promise what they were hanging on for, but just had this feeling that there would be openings. Even though it looked dire, looked very grim. But you and I could feel that there would have to naturally, just the way the universe works, be a portal to beauty in the midst of all of the numbness and blindness and refusal to hear and know and see. The rejection of courage, the refusal to engage one's own conscience. All of that, there had to be a balance towards beauty, love, courage, conscience, expansion, creation. And so we went looking for that. And we had to feel worthy enough for experiencing what could be, even while everyone else was choosing to keep in the darkness. So, what were some experiments you took to try to find that portal?
Well, I actually made sure that I looked, and I kept on. My one big experiment was to get rid of the negative social media feed. Just get rid of it, not even watch it, which is helpful. But also, as winter approached, and I was thankful for the early snow. Oh my gosh, so thankful. There's early snow, and we're actually piled up. And there is something about the snowfall here in Minnesota that is different to me. It's more of a blessing. It just feels like that. And actually, I've noticed neighbors and friends and people out and about, they are astounded by the snowfall, but yet I hear the same thing. There is something about the snowfall that's so different, though, that something feels kind of peaceful. Something feels really new. And so there's this interesting how nature and the earth kind of instilled newness and hope in people. I mean, they're like, my kids, they just can't get enough of this. They're like, school's out, and yeah, it's cold, but they're sledding every day. and I'm sledding with them. And we can't go to work. We couldn't go to work before. So I'm just sledding with my kids, doing all this. And, just this interesting feeling of yeah, they're calling it like, some people call it the COVID snow. Some people call it just, the the frozen, um, virus killing snow. It's so weird how like some people like they feel like, oh, this cold in the snow that's coming so early. It really reminds me that like there's some purification going on, and I felt it too immensely. Just the first snowfall, and it was like October. I was like, whoa, that's so fast. Um, but the people's first adage was not to stay in and stay cloistered. They wanted to go outside. They wanted to experience the snowfall. This early snow that sort of purified them in some way. Came out of nowhere. So that was the first thing I saw. And also the people being more active in the snow, and really realizing like, oh, I got to like bake cookies for my kids. I got to bake scones. I got to do all this. I got to be hospitable for my neighbor. I made coffee. People came over. We couldn't do anything. Our electricity was out for a day. I had the gas fireplace. They like told stories about when they were kids, when they were forced to be that way a long time ago. Um, just like I told a story too about living in Alabama in an ice storm, and rare ice storm, and 3 days without electricity in the winter, but having enough vegetable soup sitting on top of our wood burning stove to feed us for 3 days as we were just cloistered in a small den. So fond memories. So people were sharing that. And there's a real awakening of like what kind of constituted humanity and friendship, at least in my area. What did you experience with that, Rita?
Well, it's interesting you talk about the snow, and we had a massive 2 feet dumped in early September. And it did feel purifying and revitalizing, because then it looked like June for a little bit, because the moisture soaked into everything. And that showed me that the earth has its own plan. The earth and the atmosphere has their own plan. And I just got really tuned into that as much as I could, and to the spirit world that could see from a greater vantage point than any of us can. And I really meditated, prayed to be shown from those eyes what was going on, and to be able to feel the truth of everything that was happening. Not as like an addictive need to know and have the information, which I've felt before. This was different. It was just for the knowing that there was a vantage point above my own that I could tap into, and to be grateful for that. And I started, rather than going out into nature to revitalize myself, I went out into nature as a gift to the earth, to feel appreciation for the water and the land and the trees and everything that lives here with us. And I just kept shifting farther into that. And in a way, it created separation from other people, because they weren't there. But in a way that I can't really explain, it also created a connection, a greater understanding, so that I could know them. Whereas I might not have been able to before.
One thing that kind of astounded everyone, and there has just been recently a news report about this. I don't know how it's going to catch on, but because of the snow here in the Midwest, there was a cluster of people who actually got this virus. Um, I'm not going to mention the name anymore. I'm just going to cut it out. So, but then they were snowed in at this retreat for 5 days. And all of them kind of had this outbreak. But yet it was a retreat about vitality and humanity and our body's innate wisdom to heal itself. And so they all kind of dug into their own intuition, and they started developing interesting ways of breathing at this retreat center where they were just blocked in. They had enough food, they had enough things to survive, candles, everything, but they had nothing else to do. They were all well, so they said, we'll stay quarantined there. If anyone needs a hospital, we'll try and get the roads, dug out enough, and here's what you can do to take care of someone who feels really sick. But they all stayed in a circle and intuitively started developing different ways of breathing, different ways of raising, consciousness, feeling the feelings of the pain and the hurt that were happening with them, letting them go through their body. And when help, quote, help finally got through to them, no one had any symptoms of this virus anymore. And now they're all being featured in news magazines, and it's kind of what's different about these people? What do they do, and how do they keep their energy and their breath work and their cells so oxygenated that it actually eliminated and defeated this virus in 6 days? Because now they're all starting to test positive for antibodies equally. So that was another thing that kind of came about through this snowfall, December. And we see one spot of possibility of that could be a real interesting natural way of defeating this and other ailments. And these were not medical professionals. They were 5 people. Well, they had 5 days outside of their retreat, and all of them, of course, were infected. But they decided not to retreat into their rooms for 5 days. They decided to stay in this community and to stay meditating, to stay breathing, to stay supportive. And it ran its course rather rapidly. They even did walking in the snow to kind of keep that vibration up, that survival, high metabolized. That's what they said. We thought that it would be good for oxygenation in our bodies. So that was another really wild thing that I thought came out of this whole crazy snow in December that everybody thought was a blessing. So.
Yeah, and just imagine that no one had to wait for symptoms to do that. And to see what could happen when you get into that meditative space and connect with more than what we're told there is. And that's really what I was feeling about 3 months ago and have been doing. And time changed. so that meditating 4 hours a day still left like a whole day to do things if that's what I wanted. And to think that it's only been 3 months is also really unusual because so much has happened during that time. And I just got to a place where I couldn't be a part of the old way of doing things. I couldn't be a part of talking about what society was doing or the predatory class had in store or what politically was happening, let alone health issues or human issues. It sounds a little weird, but I was experiencing so much extra human things that everything else became irrelevant. Why would I want to go explore death and destruction and lies and numbness and anger and all of those other words when I was busy exploring the something we said earlier than this, the the mastery of being fully human, the artistry of that, and to have the faith that there was something there that was better than what we are told we have to do in order to survive in this world. Because I'm doing really well now that it's December. And it can't be explained by earthly, common earthly beliefs.
Nor should it be.
Mm.
It shouldn't even be explained by earthly beliefs.
Until earthly beliefs match the greater beliefs.
That's a funny thing, though, how um, intuitive folks have always kind of like had these signs and symbols and things that we've known, and then like the rest of the scientific community catches up and like, oh, we've discovered that our cells are photonic. They give out light. Wow, we knew that.
You've discovered what we already knew.
Yeah. So it's just the same thing. Everything else, yeah, to me, like talking about all the political playing field is like just it's as numbing to me as fantasy football. Because that's what they're doing and unimportant. So I'd rather be influencing the exterior, spiritual, energetic earth energies and just feeding that to be surprised, like the snow that no one saw coming. But yet it was such this blessing of an event. Like I would rather like love the earth and give that earth love, like you said, than to do these mind-numbing, you know, here's an old term, lower vibration things. That's an old term, but it's the closest thing I can come to without being crude and profane.
Yeah, this is what low vibration is.
Yeah. So it was the opening of hope. And there was a day that I even texted you and said, I feel a major window opening up in the sky for anyone who wants it. And that was like a really important day in December for me. It's like, oh my gosh, there's this huge window. Anybody who wants it. So I could feel it, I could see it. And just that aspect of like, okay, what do I have to worry about this earthly drama when this is what's really happening?
And the really extraordinary faith that one needs to have to believe in something that you can't necessarily see yet, but you feel it might be there. And to believe that you'll be okay if you go through it because it's something that you've never known before and no one else has and they haven't told you about it.
Yeah.
But go ahead and give it a try.
It didn't feel too courageous. It just felt like it was to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really fun to feel that. I was like, oh, it just is. I just was to lean into those things that you can't explain.
Yes.
Just leaning in. I can't explain this, but I'm going to surely lean in and feel and experience it. Even though the rest of the world wants to deny it.
Well, why not, really?
They
What?
really don't want to deny it. They really don't want to, but they think that they have to. And that's one thing I feel too. They really don't want to deny these things. They just feel like they have to, and they don't. So that's kind of the folly of the comedy that I see this month now too. It's like, yeah, I see more people kind of catching on. They're like, they're getting a little giddy, and they're like, I can't go there, but you know that they're thinking, and that everything is spinning. They really want to. That's the first time I felt that like more people really want to.
Okay. I think I'm so far through it that I haven't even noticed.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. That's you. You have work to do where you are, and maybe actually it's more about that tightrope that you still walk.
Mm.
You are still opening up. You have that work to do to open up those universes to pass by you, so that the rest of us can catch it and see it. So
Yeah, that's still hard for me to believe. There's a disbelief in me that people don't want to just go ahead and give it a try. That's something that I've never understood and can't compute because it's just so inviting.
well, the blockades are coming down, and people don't have as much to lose right now by sort of like stepping out and saying, I'm going to explore this interdimensional world a little bit. It's not as threatening as it used to be. Because they've been so stripped by the world. They've been so stripped by the world. They've been so kicked. They were so kicked that like playing in the snow felt like vacation. And maybe that's good. It's like, oh, I've been kicked around and this has been the worst, and I am not going to let snow fall. I'm going to like make this the best, craziest, best snowy winter I've ever felt. And just that kind of like, that to me said, okay, there is a little bit more to this human experience than just this misery. And I actually share that. That's a good way to open it. I say, wow, isn't there a lot more to us being human than just being afraid of a virus and all this? And like we get all this and like we're starting to make lemonade out of this. And people are like, yeah, you're right. There's a little bit more to us if we can feel that.
And right now I'm just feeling just incredible gratitude to everyone who was so afraid. And I'm not sure how to explain it except that it showed me so starkly what I didn't want, that I was ready to run, just catapult to wherever it is I needed to go. And that, if that's what I needed, thank you. Thank you, everybody, because it's fabulous beyond all of that.
Yeah, your sensitivities and intuition are through the roof. Through you like create a new roof. They're through that one too. So
I feel a little like words aren't quite working right now.
yeah. Yeah. But I also think that um, you didn't have that window. You made the window
Mm,
by catapulting yourself out. I think that might be something that's intuitively something that I'm just like coming to me right now. It's like, yeah, maybe some of us, you, others, had to really just catapult themselves away to break open something for others to notice
mm,
eventually. And it wasn't to do that, but you're very active doing that, being the first to um, break through that has ripples,
mm.
created a window.
Good. Because it was my curiosity and my interest and intention and passion for feeling good and doing well and being healthy and discovering things and experimenting and not going along. I really love that.
It's interesting when I talk to you now, I feel like I'm talking to you like I'm on Earth and you're in Mars. It just has that feeling now that you have gone a much farther out into the cosmos and into this universe plane. So it feels like, oh, I'm speaking to Rita from Mars. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm feeling that too. And I don't know, our conversation before we started recording didn't feel that way.
I
Isn't
know
that,
right now.
yeah. So it will be interesting to notice when it shifted. But I did actually make a conscious thought that this isn't about Earth stuff somewhere in this video.
Mm.
While you were talking about the snow and the breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. This isn't about any Earth stuff.
It's about that connection from those higher planes that give us that inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
that so pour us with that love. I mean, it's just like an energy of love that pours through it, and we just have to like say, we're cleared enough. It took like this snowfall and like a strandedness of strangers to just open that up. They can't explain where they got all of it. They came up with it
Mm-hmm.
because they had felt like they had to. They had nothing else to do and nothing to lose.
Right. And as we look back, we can see things that happened along the way in these last 3 months like that. Little pockets of those bits of inspiration and being thrown in by circumstances. And those people may just continue wanting to stay in that place rather than go back into the typical earthly stuff.
Oh, I hope so. So, for me, for my hope, not necessarily for them. I mean, they have their own experiences to live.
Yeah.
So, and there should be gratitude for all the experience. You can stay in that fear. You can stay in that misery. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's gratitude for that. We're feeling our way along this humanity line. Or you can decide to be an artist and play however you want, and see where that goes. Yeah, it's amazing how like just really distancing myself from all of the crazy making that the powers that be want us to have really shown me that that all of it is okay, and that I can approach it all with grace, that there's a lesson for everyone to learn no matter where they are, that they can remain in their fear and their anxiety, and there's a lesson for them for that, and that if you go into your artistry, there's a lesson for you for that, and it's all steps along a path. So it's I don't blame any others. I still want to, fight is a strong word. I still want to stand in opposition to predation on the earth in the spirit world, to be a dividing line, to hold that back and say, no, you're not welcome. But for human artists, everyone's on their path. You can choose it. I'm glad to see other people choosing whatever they want, and hey, the more the merrier up here or down here or wherever. In Mars, communicating to Mars, the more the merrier. So it's interesting we get away from the politics and that virus and all of that. We just can kind of see things as they are.
Yeah. I just want to keep going forward and not look back.
Most definitely. Then you'll open more windows.
Mm.
Fun. I can't wait to go through some of those. So we'll see when the time's right for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I do know that I am from Earth, and I'm starting to feel more comforted for that. Not apart, set apart. A lot of like folks who are intuitive really realize that they're not from Earth. It's not their home. I like feeling I'm from Earth and I can travel wherever I want. There's a intuitive passport that takes me wherever I want to go.
Yeah. Well, I love, as far as not looking back, I love going to Earth and being on the Earth and walking along the river and in the woods. And yeah, but it's not going back
No,
because Earth is holy.
maybe eventually I can be a tour guide for other spirits visiting Earth.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really great spiritual vocation
Mm-hmm.
along my soul's journey.
Hmm.
Put on the coffee, the scones. Offer up some hospitality to any spirits from wherever who wish to just take a look. This did go some interesting places.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. Well, enjoy catapulting through the universe.
I think I will.
We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rita.
Thank you.